All right. Good afternoon. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, Today we'll be focusing on science. Um, I know the first time I met with you guys for science, we talked about strategy of selecting the passages. Then we did, and I believe Lily did some passages with you guys. So I want to talk a little bit about strategies today for answering the questions and then moving on to the passages. So, first of all, if you're online, can you hear me? I just want to make sure. Okay, good. All right. Um, so, quick reminder you have six passages, 40 questions, 35 minutes, you have 52.5 seconds per question. So, time is going to go fast. So, the questions are structured such a way that ACT believes strongly that you can complete all 40 questions on time. They believe that. Um, the first question in each passage is the easiest. So that's the one you don't want to make the mistake because it carries usually a negative fudge factor. So even if it may be a little harder, so take a little bit more time. But first question is very important. Second, I do not recommend you guys to read the passage and then get to the questions. I recommend you actually go to the questions because the questions are structured to tell you where the answers are located or the information is located. If you want to read the passage, try to scan it. You won't remember what you read, anyways. Strongly believe that whatever you practice should be done that day. There should not be any confusion how to go about the science test. Third, um, one of the most confusing aspect of the ACT science questions are where you have two types of four answer choices with yes, no, yes, no. Those those things you have to be very very careful. So let me tell you a simple hint. If you see those answer choices as yes, yes, no, no, answer the question whether it's a yes or no without reading the reason. Okay? I repeat, do not read the reason before you decide whether it's yes or no. If you decide it's no, good. You're left with two no's. Then read the answer choice. Then read the explanation, and it'll be much easier to go that route than to read the entire explanation. So I'm going to repeat this again. If you have yes no questions, remember to answer yes or no first without reading the description. Okay? Next, when they say in figure 2, whatever the question is, that means the answer is in figure 2. Okay, absolutely nothing nowhere else. Sometimes it's going to be good to read a little bit above figure 2 and below figure 2 to get a little better picture, but 99% of times you don't need it. So in figure 2, just stick to figure 2. Don't even look at figure 1 because you'll be confused or maybe they will create an element of doubt. So that's why they know time is less. That's why they're telling you where the solutions are. Next, don't get stuck on one question. That's the biggest thing we see in science is they get stuck and they spend the time. If you think you're wasting time, circle it, move on. Next, the last question of the passage is usually the most difficult question of the passage. Not always, but historically we can see a trend. So if you feel the last question is taking time, those are the ones you want to skip and move on. Remember, you have six passages. Each passage has either six questions or seven questions. So you need to kind of monitor the time of where you are going to be. Just a very easy hint. The last passage, when you are at last passage, and remember you have a total of 35 minutes, the last passage on an average takes 6 to 7 minutes. Okay? So that should give an indication by around 29 to 30 minutes or 28 to 29 minutes, that range, you should be left with one passage. Okay? That's the ideal scenario, so that you're not rushing, you're taking your time. And for the last passage, which is usually the reading type of passage called the conflicting viewpoints, you may want to read that passage because that's more resembles like a reading passage. So you really, really want to spend time on the last one. So students, some of the students are joining late. I want to make sure that you know you want to watch the first 10 minutes of this video so that you have missed the main critical hints of ACT science. But I want to summarize some of them. First question in the passage is the easiest. Take your time, don't make a mistake. Second, for the yes and no type of questions, decide whether it's yes or no without looking at the reason. I cannot stress enough of this. Third, the last question typically is most difficult. Don't get stuck on that question. If you want to skip it, but don't get hung up on that one. Fourth, if they say according to figure 2, the answer is in figure 2. Next, if they tell you in experiment 2, so this is where I want you to be careful. It says, in many passages say in experiment 2, and then it says, but in the passage it refers to experiment 1. Let me repeat what I'm saying. In the question it says in experiment 2, what does it mean? But if you read the experiment 2, it refers experiment 1, then you need to know experiment 1 before you answer that question. Okay? So if there is no reference to experiment 1, fine. But if there is a reference, you want to go back to that one. Okay? So what I'm going to do is now give you a few minutes to see if you have anything you want to ask. Now remember, this is after you have selected the 2 passages and all those things. Remember the passage selection. That will not change. Anything you want to discuss, if you ask me questions, I can bring you experience of how students have dealt with science. Yeah.
Why would you want to go to the questions first? Because for me, it's kind of hard for me to understand what the question says.
Yeah, so, and I know this question gets asked a lot for us. So in reading as well as science, you just don't have time. First thing. Second, if you're comfortable reading the passage, then getting the question, stick to that one. I have no problems with that. But it's just that if you have to read quite a bit in the science and then get to the question is, do you remember where the information is? And historically, you'll have to go back where the information is. But Ben, I want to stress this. If you're comfortable and you want to practice that way, stick to that one. The last thing I want you to be confused. Okay? But I would say 7 in 10 of our students, no, I would say 6 in 10 of our students directly go to the questions. So, okay. That's a very commonly asked question. Anything else? All right, go and get your red book, please. Go and get this book. Page 500, please. Page 500. Please do not start anything.
Page?
500. All right. So now remember, when the science test starts, when they say the time begins, you're supposed to select the 2 passages and you know the rules. Do you know the rules? Is it fresh in mind? Everybody? How about online students? Do you know the rules for selecting the passages? Okay, 1, 2. Okay. All right. So I'm seeing quite a bit of students are comfortable because you don't want to have any confusion or slight doubt when the science test starts because you just don't have time. Okay, the clarity, and that's how you practice. That's what Ben was asking me. You whatever you want to do, you stick to it. Don't change. What you practice is what you need to do. So, what I'm going to do right now is try to replicate the real test. You'll have 45 seconds to select the two passages. Your time starts now. Only two passages. Time's up. So, of course, 45 seconds is on the higher side. By the end of March, I'm looking around 30 seconds max. Okay? You cannot be distracted. You cannot be thinking about something. You want to stay focused. Somebody from online, tell me, what have you selected?
3 and 1.
3 and 1. Okay. I like 3 a lot. Three for sure is the first one. I'm okay with 1. I'm okay with 1. 3-1 or 3-5 is what I was. So how many have 3-1? 1, 2. Anybody online? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Any other combinations? Elaine, what do you have? 3, 6. No. Mm-mm. Too much reading. Definitely no. Any other combinations?
3 and 5.
3 and 5. 5 is kind of borderline. Yep. Anybody else has any other combinations? Three one or 3-5, I'm okay with it. All right. So just to be consistent, we're gonna of course start with 3 and 1. Okay, because there is a majority. 5 is pretty close to it. So write down 3-1, please. I'm gonna give you guys 20 seconds to select the next two. Your time starts now. Next two. Time's up. Somebody from here can answer after 3-1.
5-5-2.
5-2. 5 is good. 5-2. How many have 5-2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's do 3-1, 5-2. And now, without any time, you guys can tell me the next two. What's the order? 6-4. So it's 3-1, 5-2, 6-4. So what I'm gonna do is, just to be very fair in our time calculations here, we believe we have taken an approximately 1 minute. So you're left with 34 minutes for the test. Okay. I have a. Does anybody have a question? I see Tate. Do you have your hand is raised?
No, that's on me.
Okay. So we're gonna do one passage at a time. Okay. I'm gonna give you the maximum time for each passage. but you will be having this clock here to write down how much time you took. Sounds good? So each passage I want to write how much time you took. Once you write down the time, don't go back and look at the questions. You're done. Sounds good? Open passage 3, everybody. Passage 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Sorry. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll be giving you guys 4 minutes time maximum for passage number 3. Good luck. Time starts now. Time's up. I just want to quickly ask, is there anybody who needs more time? Got to be honest with me. I need to know this. Okay? I'm going to read out the answers for passage number 3. HAJ CFA. I repeat, HAJ CFA. How many got all correct? One. Anybody else? One wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Any questions you want me to work on in passage 3? Or do you want to take a look at it yourself first? There are only 2 types of mistakes you're going to do. Sometimes 3, but usually it's 2. Silly mistake or something you didn't understand the question. The third one is it's that information is not in the passage and it's something you need to know up front. That's I'm not too worried about it. Silly mistakes happens, you need to reduce it. Anybody, any questions? All right, I just don't have time to repeat the questions. So I did twice, didn't hear anything. We're going to move to passage 1. You have to ask questions. I'm here. We are here to answer your questions. Passage 1 has 6 questions. You have 4.5 minutes. Your time starts now. 4.5 minutes. Time's up. Is there anyone who needs more time? All right. Passage number 1, CHC FBH. I repeat, CHC FBH. Did anybody get all correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see an improvement now. Good. One wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Any questions for me? Before, if you want to take a look at your mistakes first, sure, I understand. Take a look at it. But if you still want me to work on something, ask me.
Number 6.
Hold on, let me write this down. Question number 6. Okay. And who was that, by the way? I forgot to write down who asked that.
Elena.
Elena? Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Question number 5.
All right. So we had 3152. So let's go to passage 5. You have 5.5 minutes for passage 5. Your time starts now. Thumbs up, please. Same question. Anyone need more time? So you can see these times I'm allotting for you guys are very well orchestrated, and I know how much time it takes. So first one was 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, 5.5 minutes. So you guys have used 14 minutes, and you have done 3 passages. So you have good, and you've used the one in the selection of passages. So 15 minutes. So you're left with 20 minutes for the last 3. So 6 minutes each approximately plus. So we are on target as of right now, okay? Going back to those questions, question number 5. Based on table 1, a 1% aqueous mixture of gum Z, so Z, at 30 degrees Celsius and a resting time of 75 minutes would most likely have a viscosity closest to which of the following? So I went to gum Z in table 1, went to 75 minutes resting time, then the temperature is 25, 45, 65, the viscosity is 1879, temperature increases to 45, goes to 1562, it's reducing. So 30 degrees Celsius should be between 25 and 45 degrees Celsius, and I found out there's 1750.
Makes sense.
Okay. Question number 6. Under the conditions that are the basis for figure 1, an aqueous mixture of which gum has a viscosity of 100,000 cp at a lower concentration than any of the other 3 gums. So what I looked at figure 1, again, I have not read anything, right? I didn't even read the passage yet. I was able to answer 2 of them. Which concentration did each gum reach to 100,000? X is around 2.8, something like that. Y is around 2. W is around 2.6. Z is around 3. Z hardly will never reach. So gum Y reaches 100,000 at the lowest concentration. I don't know who asked, but does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to passage 5. DJC, GDJ, and last one is A. I repeat, DJC, GDJ, A. How many got all correct? One wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. All right. Any questions?
Could you explain 32?
32. All right. This was the yes and no one. What I would like also to do is right now, before we continue, so far we have done 3 passages, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have done 19 questions, okay? I would like to know how many correct you have for 19, okay? Take some time to do that. Out of 19 so far. All right. So I know at least all of you have got at least one wrong. So let's start with 18. How many got 18 correct? Okay, 1. 17. 2, 3, 4. 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Keep a track of that one, okay? You asked me 32. So we did 3, 1, 5, go to 2 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You will have, oops, you'll have 5.5 minutes. Your time starts now. thumbs up. Does anybody need more time? I don't know if you guys are actually finishing on time or not. You are not completing it, but are not asking for time. I'm not sure. If you're done, great. I want that to happen, but also want the honest, what's going on. Okay. So let me ask you again. Anybody needs more time? All right. Let's go to question number 32. All right. Remember I told you there are three types of mistakes students do. The first one is silly mistakes. Second, they didn't understand the question. Third is prior knowledge. So, is a mixture of any of the leachates, I don't know how different ways to say it, and any one of the clay materials properly considered solution. Now, in middle school, you do learn between solutions and suspensions. Okay, I know that. So, if you know it, of course, that makes it easy to answer. If not, but in study one, they make a statement here. The mixture was stirred continuously for 2 hours. So when you're stirring it, that means it's not mixed well, so it cannot be a solution. So, is it considered a solution? No, because the clay material mineral are not dissolved in the solution. So, I know, Elaine, you got it wrong. What was your answer, first of all?
I just didn't understand what it was asking.
Okay. How many got that question correct and knew the reason? Okay, 1, 2. Okay. Kyra, can you explain to me why you got that correct? How do you answer that one?
Sorry, what passage is this again?
This is question number 32 on the passage 5.
I just remember learning that a solution it completely dissolves, and in all of the graphs none of the things all dissolved completely. So I just kind of used an educated guess.
Okay, so you're thinking of the stuff you remember from your school, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Even though they did give a hint though in the passage study 1 that stirring for 2 hours that's a lot of stirring. Okay. All right. Now going to passage 2. Oops. All right, here you go. CFA HBJ and A. I repeat, CFA HBJ A. How many got all correct? 1, 2. 1 wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Seems like one mistake is happening. Okay. Questions on passage 2. If you want to take some time to have a look at it, sure, go ahead, take some time.
$11.
Okay. Question 11.
Oh, 13.
13. I think I don't even need to know what passage it is. I just need to look at the answer choice. It's a conversion factor. 0.5 liters is 500 ml. So that's your answer right there. So, did they given the passage 1 liter is 1000 ml? Did they mention that somewhere in the passage? If not, this is where it becomes a borderline question whether are we as students need to know that 1 liter is 1000 ml. So is it a prior knowledge question? So I believe for this specific question, they may not throw this out, okay? Because this is very common, but you can actually fight for that. That is, it's a science reasoning test, okay? So 13 is, just a conversion factor question that 1 liter is 1000 ml. Just surprised they should have given that, but anyway, you said question number 13, right? Okay, all right. All right, so go and take a 5 minutes break. Aubrey is going to be here for math, and we'll be completing this next time. And then, of course, we'll also talk about question number 11. See you guys. Have a good day.